What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham G. Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network as well as on the USA Network, because today we're talking Season 1, Episode 19 of Miz and Mrs. called French Invasion that obviously aired after SmackDown Live on Tuesday on USA Network. So, we have the season finale coming up this Tuesday. This is the penultimate episode of Season 1 finally, unless they're adding more episodes that I'm not aware of. This is like the fucking third season finale that we've had for Season 1 over the last year. Because the show first premiered last summer, and it wrapped up, I want to say in August, I think, because it was only like 6 episodes. They wrapped up the 6 episodes in August, I think, or early September. They brought the show back in January, I think maybe right after WrestleMania or around WrestleMania time. The rest of Season 1 at that point, okay, cool. So the rest of Season 1 aired in like the springtime. They took a brief hiatus, and then they brought the show back again, like a couple weeks ago, for another, like, bunch of episodes from Season 1. Season 2 is on the way. They've already announced Season 2. I thought this was Season 2. It's not. So, Season 2 might be premiering a lot sooner than we think, just because they've had a lot of time to film it. And these episodes are, like, from late 2018, early 2019. Anyway, so this one was called French Invasion because while Miz and his dad are playing chess back in Miz's house, Maurice's family comes to visit for the week, and none of them speak English, and Miz is like forced to take their suitcases upstairs. They don't really have many manners. They give Miz a hard time. He's not too thrilled about this, but he thinks, though, that he is the best uncle, and like a lot of Maurice's family, a lot of them are adults, but there's a lot of kids, too. She has a lot of nieces and nephews. And Miz wants to prove that he is the best uncle of all time. So he plays video games with them in an attempt to teach them how to be adults through video games. Maurice does not really like the idea. She's like, okay, this is dumb. Just stop. But, you know, the kids kind of make it up to Miz for all the shit that they've given him since they arrived at the house, with one of the girls making Miz new wrestling shoes. Now, because I guess Maurice tossed out his old wrestling shoes or put them to the side or whatever because they fucking stink. He's had them forever. Miz doesn't know if it's superstition or what, but he's had the same wrestling boots since the start of his career. And he doesn't want to give them up, but he tries out these new wrestling shoes on Mixmatched Challenge. He actually ends up wearing them, which is pretty cool. More on that later. They're basically sneakers, but just bedazzled. So he's not thrilled. I mean, it's a cool gift. It's very thoughtful. He's just not sure if he's actually going to wear them on television. Anyway, so Miz recalls his feud with Xavier Woods on Up, Up, Down, Down, and the many times the Miz has lost to Xavier on the show in Street Fighter. He's bet all of his championship belts, like the replica titles that he has, in games with Woods, and he loses every time. So in an attempt to win everything back, he puts Maurice's Divas Championship on the line in Street Fighter and loses that too. So he has to like secretly take the title from the house without her knowing. Anyway, so SmackDown emanates from Austin that week. Austin, Texas, right where The Miz and Maurice are living. So the whole family goes to SmackDown that week, which is pretty cool. While there, Miz tries to win the belt back by also putting his MVP trophy on the line, which we later find out Maurice put him up to, because Maurice wants to see if Miz can give up one of his own prized possessions, and aside from just the championship belts, and he loses that too, so Miz just keeps fucking losing. So learn from Miz, don't bet people, especially if you're on a losing streak. Just stop where you're at. Just stop while you're ahead, and don't continue to bet, and lose things that are important to you, because you're going to end up like The Miz. So, like I said, he does end up wearing the bedazzled shoes on Mixmatched Challenge in a match with, I think, teaming with Asuka. I forgot who they faced, maybe Jimmy Uso and Naomi, if I'm not mistaken. After the match, this didn't make TV, I don't think, but after the match, in the dark segment, whatever, he gave a shout out to his family in the front row in the crowd, which is pretty cool. While they're all in the car, Mr. Miz, George Mizanin, all of our favorites, he talks about how he gets a random phone call in the car. He gets like one of those, not company calls, but like, not scammer calls, but you know, like those calls you get, that they're just companies, automated messages and stuff. And while in the car, he talks about the origin of this message, that one time he ordered fucking Viagra pills, and he starts talking about how effective they were in front of the whole family in the car, and how like cheap he bought them, and his wife's in the car, and Maurice is in the car, and the kids are in the car, and Miz is in the car, and it's so fucking gross. But yeah, he starts talking about that for a little while, which is weird. But the whole family, they're in the car because they go to a stunt ranch where you can do axe throwing, paintball, tug of war, stuff like that. Maurice, while there, wants to teach Miz a lesson in competitiveness and why he shouldn't be so competitive. So they play paintball, the axe throwing, tug of war. Miz ends up winning the whole thing. Miz knows, though, by the time they get back home, he knows that he has to come clean to Maurice about, taking her championship. So ultimately, by the way, Miz does not learn a lesson in competitiveness originally because he ends up winning those games at the stunt ranch. But coming out of that, though, he does know that, okay, I got to give Maurice her championship back, or I can't give it to her back because I lost it, but I got to tell her that I took it. Before he tells her that he took it, he was like, oh, let's have some sex first. He didn't say sex, but he's like, oh, let's play around. And Miz is so fucking funny. He's so excited, he just takes all of his clothes off, and he obviously still has his boxers on or whatever, his underwear. And then Maurice is like, okay, I'll be right back. And he gets so excited, he gets under the covers, and then Maurice comes back in, obviously still with her clothes on. If you're looking forward to her not having her clothes on, you're probably disappointed, but that's not what this show's about. So anyway, Maurice comes back in the room wearing a replica Divas championship, and Miz is like, I'm fucked. She knows. So Maurice reveals that she found out. I'm not sure how she found out. She probably just noticed the championship wasn't there. And then Xavier told her, because she knew that he bet the belt. I think that's how it played out. She knew that he bet the belt because he already betted all of his other championships and lost those two. So still, she's like, yeah, I found out about it, and I made a deal with Xavier. Oh, actually, that wasn't a replica championship that she had here. It was the real one, but she has it on loan from Xavier, where they made a deal where if Miz willingly lost to the kids in a video game, I forgot what game it was, I think it's Street Fighter, actually, that Xavier will give back Maurice, I think the trophy, the MVP trophy in the Divas Championship, not necessarily the, other titles, but at least those two things, which is nice of him. So all he has to do is just let the kids win in the game. Miz is like, well, that's not going to teach him a lesson in competitiveness, and we just let him win, blah, blah, blah. But Miz, even though he puts forth the effort in this game in Street Fighter, I guess the kids had trained with Xavier while they were at SmackDown, they end up beating him despite the fact he actually played competitive. He actually played to the best of his ability, and then Miz gets his ass kicked in this video game by his own nieces and nephews. So that's how this thing plays out. Maurice and I guess Miz technically does win because he gets his trophy back, but not in the way that he would have hoped. Anyway, guys, that does it for this episode of Miz and Mrs. Season 1, Episode 19, French Invasion. Good show as always. Good, nice, good-natured fun from the Miz and Maurice Castle Miz household. Always enjoy this show. So be sure to check it out on the USA Network before the season finale airs this Tuesday after SmackDown Live on USA. And that's going to do it for me, guys. Be sure to check out all my other reviews of Miz and Mrs. here on the channel. The next one goes up likely, like I said, Friday, Saturday next week, a couple days after the episode originally airs. You can like this video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more content. And with all that being said, guys, have a great rest of your weekend. I'm Graham G. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.